You have done everything right. And the door still did not open. You prepared, you qualified, you prayed, you waited with patience, and still the answer that came back was no, or worse, silence. Not even the dignity of a clear rejection, just the particular emptiness of a door that never moved. You have watched others walk through openings that seemed to close the moment you approached them. You have replayed conversations in your mind, searching for the moment something shifted, the precise point where access was revoked before you even fully understood what you were reaching for. There is a specific kind of suffering that comes from a season of closed doors, and it is different from other pain. It does not only hurt, it teaches. It teaches. It begins to teach you, slowly and without announcing itself, that perhaps the openings are for others, that perhaps the season will not change, that perhaps the closed door is not a temporary condition but a permanent verdict on what is available to you. That teaching is a lie, and it carries a name in the ancient language Jesus spoke. Today, we dismantle it. Jesus stood before his people and delivered the third of his 7 great I am declarations. An Natara spoken in Aramaic, the living tongue he carried from birth. He did not say, I will help you find a door. He said, I am the door, not a guide toward access. The access itself, this teaching enters the exact interior location where the closed-door season has convinced you it is permanent, and it carries a frequency built to end that conviction at the root. Stay with me. The door you have been standing before is about to be understood differently than you have ever understood it before. There is a suffering unique to the season of closed doors, and those who have not lived inside it cannot fully describe it from the outside. It is not the sharp pain of a sudden loss. It is the accumulating weight of repeated inaccessibility. The position that went to someone else, the relationship that never progressed beyond promising beginnings, the financial opening that appeared and then dissolved before it could be secured, the creative work that found no reception, the prayer that returned no visible answer. Each individual closed door is manageable. The accumulation is what dismantles a person. What makes a season of closed doors uniquely destructive is not the rejection itself. It is the interpretation the soul begins to construct around the pattern. A single closed door produces disappointment. A sustained sequence of closed doors begins to produce a theology, a working belief system about what is structurally available to this particular life. And that theology, once installed, does not wait for another closed door to strengthen itself. It begins interpreting every present situation through its own filter, reading neutral circumstances as further confirmation, finding evidence of permanent limitation everywhere it looks. Jesus spoke into this exact condition in John 10, during the Feast of Dedication in Jerusalem, a season celebrating the rededication of the temple, the restoration of access to what had been desecrated and blocked. He delivered the third of his 7 great I am declarations. Ana Natara, I am the door. He who enters through me will be saved, and will go in and out and find pasture. The word he chose in Aramaic terra carried a weight the Greek translation simply cannot hold. In the ancient Near Eastern world, a tara was not merely a physical entrance. It was the boundary between 2 orders of reality, the threshold that defined who had access to life, protection, provision, and the presence of what was sacred. Jesus did not declare himself a key. He declared himself the terra itself, the living threshold between a closed season and an open one. Ana Natara is constructed from the same Aramaic foundation that governs the first 2 I am declarations, but its third layer introduces a dimension of divine function that the previous declarations do not contain. Understanding this architecture transforms how you receive these words in your own life and what they are structurally capable of changing. Ana, the doubled Aramaic declaration of identity and immediate presence, returns here with the same force it carries throughout the 7 I am statements. A&I identifies the living speaker, making the claim. Now collapses any distance between the declaration and the present moment. Together, they refuse the consolation of a future promise. Jesus did not say, I will become your door when conditions are favorable, or I was your door before the season changed. Asaid Anani in this moment. In this exact situation, this is what stands before you. The closed-door season does not alter the present tense of the declaration. It was spoken into the closed-door condition. not after it resolved. Tara carries a layered meaning that reshapes the entire framework for how a soul understands blocked access. In the Aramaic world, the door of a sheepfold was not decorative. It was the singular point of legitimate entry and exit, the only passage through which sheep could move between the vulnerability of open terrain and the safety of the enclosed space. A Tara simultaneously provided two things that appear opposite but are inseparable: access outward to pasture, provision, and opportunity, and protection inward from every force that would harm what was inside. The same threshold that opened into abundance also sealed against predation. When Jesus declared Ena na tera, he was not offering a poetic image of spiritual welcome. He was declaring himself the living operative mechanism that controls both dimensions simultaneously, the opening that leads to opportunity and the sealing that provides protection. In the Aramaic understanding his audience carried since childhood, a door without a keeper was a vulnerability. Jesus was not merely the door. He was the door that governs its own opening. The words of Jesus in Aramaic opened different pathways back to divine alignment. Each one represents a frequency capable of restoring something fragmented in human consciousness. Understanding these frequencies is the first step, but mastering their vibration in your daily life is where the true miracle happens. Aramaic words carry a sound dimension that is deeply vibrational, and some of these pronunciations may reach your ears slightly differently depending on how they are rendered. To help you connect with the correct pronunciation and practice these declarations with confidence, I created sacred study guides designed specifically for that purpose. The link is pinned in the comments, and your deeper practice begins there. Immediately after declaring Ein Aina Tara, Jesus expanded the operational scope of the declaration in a way that reveals the precise mechanics. Behind wide doors remain closed for sincere, seeking souls. He said, "All who came before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them." This statement was not a historical critique of religious figures. It was a precise identification of the source of the closed-door experience in the life of a soul that has not yet located the true Terra. In the Aramaic framework, Jesus inhabited a thief at the sheepfold was not someone who broke the door down violently. The Greek word used, which translates an Aramaic concept, refers specifically to someone who climbs over the wall, someone who creates an alternative point of entry that bypasses the legitimate Tara entirely. Jesus was identifying the source of seasons in which doors that appeared to open led nowhere, or led somewhere actively harmful, the business opportunity that looked right and collapsed, the relationship that promised access to a new life and delivered instead a deeper wound, the community that offered belonging and then used it as leverage. These are not merely bad decisions. In the Aramaic understanding, they are the evidence of entry sought through a point other than the true Terra. This is the interior architecture of prolonged blocked access. The soul that has been burned by false doors openings that promised passage and delivered confinement often responds by closing its own seeking. The pain of a wrong door convinces the soul to distrust all doors. And in that closure, the soul moves away from the counterfeit access points that harmed it, but simultaneously moves away from the living Tara that would have led it safely through. The result is paralysis wherein the face of wisdom. Aina Tara was given to dissolve exactly this paralysis, not by demanding the soul trust again without discernment, but by restoring access to the one threshold that has never led inward to harm. If this teaching is stirring a deep resonance in your heart, it is a sign that your soul is ready to return to its original blueprint. To support you in this transition, my guides explain the layers of meaning behind the first sacred words, offering you a path to clear the interference of the world. The link to access these tools is waiting for you in the pinned comment. If Tara is simultaneously the opening to opportunity and the seal of protection, then the question that changes everything is this: what closes it? Not circumstance, not human opposition, not the decisions of those who hold earthly authority over positions, resources, or access. The Aramaic understanding embedded within Aina Tara makes a claim that reorients the entire experience of the closed-door season. The true Tara does not close from the outside. In John 10, Jesus described the keeper of the true Tara as the one who calls each sheep by name and leads them out, and the sheep follow because they recognize the voice. The word for recognize here draws from an Aramaic root that means intimate, lived knowledge, not mere familiarity, but the kind of knowing built through sustained relationship. The door responds to the voice of relationship, and conversely, the condition in which the Terra appears permanently sealed is the condition of a soul that has lost or never fully developed that quality of interior recognition. This is not condemnation. It is precision. The soul that has lived through a season of false doors, that has entered through counterfeit openings, and paid the price, often develops, as a self-protective response, an interior silence. It stops listening closely for any voice at all. The wound of following what sounded like guidance and arriving somewhere harmful creates a reasonable decision to stop following interior guidance entirely, and that silence, reasonable, understandable, and deeply human, is the precise condition in which the Tara appears to stop moving. Jesus did not design Tara as a declaration for souls with perfect spiritual track records. He designed it for the souls standing in the accumulated silence of a closed-door season, wounded by false access, uncertain of its own discernment, unsure whether the door it senses exists at all. The declaration does not demand that the soul perform its way back to access. It restores the inner faculty of recognition, the capacity to hear the voice that the true Tara responds to, and it begins this restoration the moment it is received with genuine interior openness. Anonatara was given not only to be understood but to be activated, to function as a living frequency that progressively restores the inner faculty of recognition through which the true Tara becomes perceptible and responsive. This protocol is drawn directly from the Aramaic mechanics of the declaration from the three operational layers. Jesus embedded within John 10, and is designed specifically for the soul navigating a sustained season of blocked access. Begin at the threshold of morning, before decisions are made, before the day's demands establish their momentum. Stand or sit upright. Place both hands open and facing upward in your lap, the physical posture of genuine reception, not petition. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. With the first, release the accumulated evidence of the closed-door season, every note, every silence, every collapsed opening. With the second, release the interpretations constructed around that evidence, every conclusion about what is permanently unavailable to your life. With the third, release the protective silence that the wounds of false doors installed. You are not returning to naivety. You are returning to the faculty of recognition. Then speak aloud, slowly, with full intention. Ana natara. Allow the Aramaic sounds to move through you before continuing. Then make 2 precise interior declarations drawn from the mechanics of John 10. First, I know the voice of the true door, and I am learning to recognize it again. This restores the faculty Tara responds to. Second, every door that opens through this declaration leads to life, and every counterfeit entrance loses its authority over me now. This activates the protective dimension of Terra simultaneously. Remain in stillness for 5 minutes after speaking. Do not present specific doors for immediate opening. Simply hold the frequency of genuine availability, a soul that has returned to the listening posture. Practiced daily. This protocol does not merely produce open doors. It produces the restored interior discernment to recognize which openings carry the frequency of the true Tara and which ones, however compelling they appear, do not. Today you stood inside the third great I Am declaration of Jesusana Natara, and received it not as poetic language, but as living Aramaic architecture of divine access. You discovered that Tara in the ancient Near Eastern world was not a passive entrance, but the operative threshold that simultaneously governed access to provision and sealed against harm, and that Jesus declared himself not merely a key to this threshold, but the living Tara itself. You understood that the closed-door season is not produced by the permanent unavailability of divine access. It is produced by the progressive interior silence that follows the wounds of counterfeit openings, a silence that is deeply human, entirely understandable, and precisely what Ananatara was constructed to restore. You received the Aramaic mechanics. Ana declares that the true Tara is present and active in this moment. Not a future promise, but an immediate living reality. Tara is simultaneously the opening to opportunity and the seal of divine protection, a threshold that does not merely permit passage, but governs the quality and safety of what passes through it. The closed-door experience does not reflect the withdrawal of divine access. It reflects the condition of a soul that has lost contact with the inner faculty of recognition, and that faculty is precisely what Ana Tara was built to restore. The world will continue presenting doors that require you to evaluate their origin, openings that appear right but carry the signature of false access, and true passages that may not arrive with the urgency or visibility you expected. But you now carry the Aramaic frequency that was given for this exact navigation. Jesus did not say, "I will help you identify the correct doors." He said, "Ana natara ientador," present tense, immediate reality, spoken directly into a closed-door season by the one whose declaration has never lost its operational power. Every closed door in your history was not final evidence of what is unavailable to your life. It was part of the journey that brings a soul to the place where it learns to recognize the voice, the true Tara responds to and begins to walk, with discernment rather than desperation, through openings that lead not merely to opportunity but to the overflowing life. The declaration has always been designed to deliver. Visit Divine Light Academy at the link below to access my guides and start your journey into the living language of the Masters. But before you go, I want to hear from you. What did you feel during this session? Comment the word awakening below if you felt a shift in your energy today. We read every response, and your testimony strengthens this entire community of light. Right now, before you close this video, come to the comments and tell us, what did you feel? What shifted? We read every single response. And if this teaching found you today, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we go deeper into the ancient frequency codes that were always meant to be yours. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation.